Chapter 5: Understanding Learning Styles and Finding What Works for You. Medical school is demanding, and many students, including myself, find themselves spending countless hours reading, watching videos, and doing practice questions, only to feel like they're barely scraping by. I often found myself comparing my effort to other students who seem to spend less time but achieve better results. This chapter is about what I discovered during my struggle to figure out why the traditional method was not working for me, and finding how the right learning style helped turn the tide for me. It was a game changer. So the struggle, when traditional methods just don't work. The inefficiency of traditional study methods. Like many students, I spent countless hours reading first aid, doing UWorld questions, and watching Boards and Beyond videos, among other things. Despite this, I wasn't seeing any improvement in what I expected. Recognizing the inefficiency. No matter how hard I worked, my results suggested otherwise. It was as if the sacrifices I made and the long hours I spent studying weren't reflected in my exam scores. This led to emotional strain, burnout, and affected my physical and mental health. The role of learning styles in academic performance. Personal background and its impact on learning. I came from a Black American family and grew up as a second-generation college student. I am also the first person in my family to pursue medicine. Most of my achievements came from me excelling in the football field and not necessarily academics. I did excel in academics, but the way I paid my bills was through my athletic performance. My resilience and my determination came from my experience as an athlete. But those traits didn't directly translate into academic success in the traditional sense. As someone used to thriving on physical performance and teamwork, the isolation of studying felt foreign and counterproductive. Cultural expectations and external pressures. Being a medical student also meant becoming a point of contact for family members who saw me as their access point to healthcare. Balancing these cultural responsibilities with medical school was an unexpected challenge that I had to learn how to navigate myself. Because if I'm not good, nobody else will be. Learning styles, what they are and why they matter. We have different types of learning styles. We have visual learners, which benefit from diagrams, flowcharts, and visual cues. We have auditory learners who learn best by listening to lectures, reading aloud, and engaging in discussions. We got reading and writing learners who prefer learning through reading and writing notes, such as flashcards or other study guides. And then we have kinesthetic learners, those that excel when they can interact with materials physically, through hands-on practice or engaging with models. Me, I'm a bit of a visual and a kinesthetic learner. Finding your learning style. I eventually sought help from a learning specialist and underwent evaluations to understand what my learning style was. This was the first step in figuring out what worked for me and what I didn't need to do. And what I learned is that I'm a kinesthetic learner and I'm also a visual learner, but I'm mainly a kinesthetic learner. So I need to do more stuff in order to get more from it. But you could throw in a little bit of auditory as well. What worked for me? A kinesthetic and auditory approach. Football and kinesthetic learning. I played football for over 12 years. And my ability to learn plays, run drills, and visualize strategies translated into my medical studies. I learned that my brain worked best when I engaged with information physically. This realization really helped me switch my approach to medical education. Reps and standardized testing practice. I found that I needed repetitions to truly understand and retain the material. So that meant a lot of practice questions. I did as many as possible to get in those reps. Also, handwriting notes, writing down stuff that I needed to know, helped me reinforce the concepts that I saw in those practice questions. And then also reading aloud. Reading my notes aloud every morning and every night activated my auditory learning strengths. And so instead of watching videos and passively engaging with things, I was actively engaging with all the things that I needed to do. And it was exhausting at first. I'm not going to lie. But once you get used to doing something, it becomes second nature. And that's all you know after a while. And when you go back to things that are less challenging, you feel like you're discounting yourself. So we want to challenge ourselves the best that we can. Combining methods for maximum efficiency. Active engagement through multiple senses. To improve my efficiency, I combined visual, kinesthetic, and auditory learning techniques. Creating Anki flashcards. I made cards with clinical vignettes and key concepts focusing on mechanisms of action, enzyme deficiencies, and anatomy. My morning and my night review. I read my crib sheets aloud twice a day to reinforce memory through active participation. Kinesthetic engagement. By physically writing down the notes and then reading them, I was using multiple forms of engagement to boost retention. And then I would reinforce that with the other stuff that I just said. Intentional rest and avoiding burnout. I learned to rest intentionally, making sure I took breaks just as seriously as studying. That team no sleep mentality from football, that wasn't cutting it. It just wasn't sustainable. I realized that quality study time followed by quality rest time led to me having better results on a day-to-day basis and in the long term. And boy, I kid you not, it was a game changer for me. It's time to trim the fat. Let's talk about making your study routine work for you, not against you. Here's a playbook. Identify your learning style. Are you a visual learner that loves diagrams and charts? An auditory learner? Lectures and discussions are your jam? Reading and writing learner? Pen and paper? Or a kinesthetic learner? Hands-on all the way. Figuring this out first is the step towards optimizing your study game. Diversify your learning techniques. Don't be a one-trick pony. Mix it up. Use a blend of study methods. Tackling practice questions, scribbling notes by hand, drawing flowcharts, read aloud, or even teach concepts to your cat. Nimbus approves that. Although, I'm allergic to cats, so if you have a dog, I will replace the cat with a dog. This keeps your brain engaged and ensures you're covering all angles, because you want to be ready for everything. Prioritize rest and avoid burnout. Hustle culture has no place here. Rest hard to work smarter. Get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep and step away when you're spinning your wheels. Sustainability wins the race. Accept that struggle's part of the process. Newsflash. Struggling doesn't mean you don't belong. You're here because you're capable. Struggles are normal. It's about finding your rhythm, adjusting, and grinding through it. Your success in medical school isn't just about logging hours. It's about how you use those hours you logged in. Learn your way, whether it's sketching out pathways, watching videos, or drilling practice questions. Lean into what works for you. And don't forget, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Take care of yourself along the way and don't lose yourself in the process. Now that you've explored how to leverage your learning style, it's time to take things up a notch. In the next chapter, we'll dive into building a sustainable, high-impact study plan tailored to your needs, from structuring your day to prioritizing practice questions and review. I'll walk you through the steps to craft a schedule that balances learning, rest, and life outside of medicine. Let's make your plan work as hard as you do. And bottom line, medical school is brutal, but you've got the tools to make it manageable. Find your style, play to your strengths, and own your journey. Thanks for checking this out. This is Usmle Step 1000, created by me, Stephen Christian, a space where you can turn your Step 1 prep into something smarter, sustainable, and stress-free. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. You can follow us on Spotify for more study tips and more audio podcast stuff, Instagram at Usmle Step 1000, and you can like the Facebook page to stay connected. Don't forget to download all the resources, all the Anki decks, the clinical clues, everything from the PDFs and everything that you saw in the videos you can find at www.step1000.com. And follow the blog for more updates as well at www.usmlestep1000.com, your one-stop shop for everything Step 1000. And if you like what I'm doing here and you want to follow or at least support, you can check me out on social media at Stuck on an Island. Thanks again, and I look forward to sharing more stuff about Step 1 prep and how to overcome these mental hurdles so that you can have the best possible experience possible. So again, I'm not going to hold you any longer, but remember, let's keep pushing forward one step at a time to 1000.